So this is my reflection for the last video. This is where we did NTAS standards 6, 7, and 8, and I thought the lesson went really well. After doing the lesson, there were some things I thought I would probably change in the future. But overall, I thought it was a good lesson, and I thought the kids really enjoyed it, and I was able to assess them with multiple assessments. So the first thing, the Do Now activity, served as a very quick formative assessment. If you look in the lesson plan, I actually put some screenshots from the Google form showing, which their overall mean, median, the question they missed the most, things like that. This was a quick formative assessment, allowing me to gauge the students' knowledge and understanding of the modal verbs from the previous lesson. I think it also kind of set the tone for the lesson and provided a foundation for what we were going to do going forward. I always go over lesson objectives, agenda. I think it kind of gives them an understanding of what they're going to be doing and also what the lesson's about. I gave a think, pair, share activity for fast finishers, people who got done early, so they would have something to do instead of just sitting there and doing other things. When I was walking the room, I heard some pretty good discussion of some of the questions, so I thought that was a good sign. Some of the students didn't finish quick enough, so they didn't take part in it, but I thought it was a good activity to do to fill the time while we're waiting for the next thing. Moving into the main part of the lesson, I had the students either choose between writing dialogues or a story, and then at the end, everyone turned this into like a 1-minute skit. One thing I would change is I don't think I was as clear in my instructions when I talked to them about making sure it was a suggestion or obligation or prohibition. And even though I went over those at the very beginning of the lesson again to give them, more reminders of what they are, I think that's one thing I'll change in the future is be more clear. I did put those exact instructions on the worksheet, which I put in with the lesson plan. So I think the students could read it anyway, but it's something that when watching the video, I was like, oh, I should have explained that better. Yeah, so that was something I would definitely try to fix. I thought the group activities went really well. All the students were on task. They were all working. Some picked dialogues, some picked stories. To help some of the students who have a tougher time understanding, I put a dialogue example so they could see what it looked like and give them, and I highlighted and underlined the modal verbs in my example so they would have a good example of what they were looking at. I also included that in the lesson plan too, so if you want to see it or anyone, they could get an idea what it looks like. I thought that part of the lesson went really well. I thought they used their time very wisely. I only gave them 15 minutes, which kind of worried me a little bit because I figured they might not finish in time, but every group did. Then I gave them an extra 5 minutes to practice their skits, which I thought were very entertaining. I know that some groups would be better than others. I mean, that's just, we all have different skills, and some don't perform as well as others, but I think it's a great activity for them to do. I think some of them had fun with it, and I really enjoyed those. One thing that happened is the skits ran a little long, which I wasn't surprised, so we had to kind of carry over to the next lesson. And then I was able to give them another assessment during the next lesson, which I put on my lesson plan as a exit ticket, but I didn't think we would possibly get to it. I always like to plan more than we're going to do, just in case we run out of time. They work bell to bell, so I never want them to have a free moment. So we always try to. So I always will plan extra things. Generally on my lesson plans, I'll have 2 things under all the normal things, just in case. Because I know some groups and classes work faster than others. But the skits were great. When I have them do the Kahoots, I always have them put their nickname and their number so I can see what questions they missed. It gives me a really good formative assessment of what they know and what they don't know. I feel like my mentor, Giselle, gave me really good feedback. I feel like one of the things I need to keep working on is learning all the vocabulary in a very technical way, the academic speech of teaching, which I'm trying to learn, which is why I really want to take this course. So I think I'm getting better at it, but it's just one of those things I need to keep working on. And I think learning the standards has been really useful. Learning what they see as the core elements of teaching. I feel like some of the things I've already been doing a lot of. I talked to my mentor when I first started. I took this professional development, and they wanted me to learn all these different types of teaching methods and how students memorize things, and making sure you hit different types like kinesthetic, audio, musical learners, visual learners, and trying to hit all these different things in one lesson. So I always try to hit at least 5, and I feel like I do a pretty good job of it. And as I've gotten, taught for a few years, I've learned how to implement so many different ones and always change states, keep them active. I think the thing that I was taught is that they can't focus more than 10 minutes on one thing, most students. So you want to keep them changing states, and making sure those changes are crisp and, that there's no free time. So I think this lesson was quite fun. I think the students enjoyed it, and I was quite happy with it. And I got a lot of different assessments of what the students know, and it lets me know what to plan for the future lessons. All right, thank you.